I am going to speak on the topic, the key to living your future. I believe that nobody in this room have a desire more than you to become all that you're dreaming, how to become the best and to maximize all that you could be, how to live your future. And when we think of the future, I believe that most of us think of it as being something that's far away. But the future is tomorrow. As a matter of fact, it's the next hour. The future is the next 5 minutes. And most people don't know how to live the future because the greatest threat to your future is your past. And most of the humanity that I have known and gotten to see over the years, there are 5.7 billion people on the planet right now, and I would dare say that 90% of those people that live on this planet right now are people who are experiencing destruction and personal perishing. They are perishing personally. They are not being successful. Do you know why? Because instead of living according to a vision, they're living according to a revision. Now, what is a revision? When you're going to do a revision, it means you go back and look at something you've already done. And do you know that when you revise a revision, you're basically living something that's already lived? When I was in college, one of the things that they taught us to do is to study, to take tests. I think all of you have had that opportunity. And when you prepare to take a test, what do you study? Things you should have already learned. And you kind of read notes, or you read books, or you go over different types of information that you're supposed to have learned already. So revisions really are living the past again. And most of the human entities on this planet are actually living their past because they're so preoccupied with revision, they don't live their vision. Now, what does the Bible say? You know, one of the wisest men that ever lived was a politician. His name was Solomon. And Solomon says, without a vision, you will perish. But I believe that most of the people on the planet are living their revision. Some are so busy remembering, they cannot forget. Now you think about that with your life. There is a dream in your heart, and everyone has one, that is much bigger than the nightmare you experience it. Most people are so trapped by what they used to do, they have no energy to do what they should do. Most of the people I know are so afraid of past failures that they never attempt future possibilities. And I'm talking about 99% of the planet. How sad. It seems that people are so busy keeping in touch with their past that they never visit their future. The reason for that is because most of us live the unknown from the known. This is good and it's bad. You can only learn what you know. You can only know what you learn. And most of us live our lives based on what we did. Think about it. So the unknown is usually lived out of the known. And that is very dangerous because what you know should not limit what you could know. Memory immobilizes man. Make a note of that. Memory immobilizes man. Most of the people in this room, and it might be you as one of them, you are trapped by what you have already done. And it makes you question what you could do. That's why the majority of the people on this planet never live their future. Because the past to them is more important than their future. They are so preoccupied with what they've done that they never plan to do what they could. I believe that the greatest enemy of your progress is actually your last success. Even the good things you do could prevent you from doing the greater things that you could do. That's why when people accomplish great things, they park in that parking place. They become so trapped by their success that they refuse to move on to what they could do that they haven't done yet. The past is dangerous. One of the greatest decisions that a human can make is to actually forget. God gave you the capacity to forget. God gave you the ability to literally turn things off. Now, I must confess that it's impossible to not have a memory, but it is possible to not allow your memory to influence you. It's possible for you to not allow what you did to interfere with what you could do. So don't allow your memory to immobilize your life. You see, you can leave the past. You can actually cancel the emotional debt and the psychological ties that you have to the past. And you can advance to the future if you are willing to make that decision to forget. To live effectively, then, I am convinced that it is impossible for you to succeed until the future becomes more important than your past. You must move past your past to enter your future. And that's why I want to talk about this today, because ever since the fall of man, we've been trapped by what we've done, and it's stopping us from doing what we could do. You know, one of the greatest gifts that God has, that He told us about, one of the greatest attributes of God, one of the greatest miracles of God Himself, is that God forgets. The Word of God makes some very plain statements about God's attitude toward your past. And one of the greatest things it says about your past in relationship to God is that He forgets your past. He takes your sin. Now, what is your sin? Your sin is your past life, your past behavior. It includes that which was done through Adam. You know, your past goes back as far as Adam. Because according to biblical, theological concept, Adam had all of us in him when he disobeyed God. So therefore, it was passed upon every sperm that was in Adam. And every future generation was trapped by Adam when Adam sinned, which means that our past began in Adam. And when God forgave the sin of Adam, your past was eradicated. So when you come to Christ in this hour in your life, you actually appropriate something that was already taken care of years ago. Some years ago, I was studying the Bible, which to me is the most important book on the planet. And I read something that I really didn't understand for years. I read that Jesus took care of the sin problem before man sinned. I found that in a strange place in Revelation. It says that Jesus was slain before the earth was even founded, which means God made arrangements to solve your problems before you had any. God made arrangements to deal with your past because He loved your future too much. God has some things He wants you to do that He won't allow what you did to interfere with. That's why what you did is never more important than what you could do. Isn't that good news? You better clap at that one. I mean, God is so good that God's dreams for you are so important that God made arrangements for your past so that your future could still be possible even if you messed up in the past. That means God planned my past before my future so that my past will not interfere with my future. So when we come to Christ and He forgives us, We are cashing in on something that's already done. And that is why forgiveness is not something that God just decided to do. He forgave you while you were yet a sinner. Jesus died for you while you were yet a sinner. So you are not a haphazard second thought of God. He always had plans for you to be successful. Therefore, if you fail, it's because you decided not to succeed. God hates to see you fail. He made arrangements for you never to fail. That's why anything that happens to your life that is not God's best for you is a temporary detour. To me, that excites me. That's why I love the word forget. Everybody say forget. Tell your neighbor, forget it. Come on, just say it with some feeling. Say, forget it. Can you take him, hit him with your shoulder, say, forget it. Now, of course, they're trying to figure out what you're talking about, right? They're trying to figure out, what do you mean by forget? Forget what? Well, forget whatever it is that's stopping you from moving ahead to what you're supposed to do. Forgetting is important to your future.